Hey everybody, Benji here with the question of the week or question of the every couple of weeks it seems like. Because some of these questions I just don't like and I'm like, that's boring. I'm gonna skip that one. But this one's not bad. How do you maintain social connections in your later years? So I think this is something that a lot of people that are my age and even maybe a little younger, but for sure older, struggle with. So it was so easy when you were younger, right? You were all on the same path. You're all doing the same things. You're either in high school and you see each other all the time. You're in college, you see each other all the time. You go to a job, you find new friends there, right? Because you work in a big company and you're all peons, and so you're all miserable. And you do that. As you get older, people start having kids. They have less time to do things. They have better jobs where they're less, right? I mean, if you look at the employees of a company, everybody down here, there's a big, huge stack of them. As you keep going up, you get less and less peers, right? So it becomes a little tougher to have a bunch of work friends, right? And as I think about my friends, so many of them are business owners, right? And as a business owner, to be honest, it's a pretty lonely um, position, right? There's not, you know, as much as you try to be a nice guy and do the right thing, nobody wants to be buddies with the boss, really. If they do, they're probably freaking kissing up and doing it for the wrong reasons. Um, so I think the answer to this, how do you maintain those social connections in your later years, is that it's effort, right? Saw a video recently by a guy that was saying everything in life that is good and that is worth it is hard, right? It's hard to have a good marriage and relationship. It's hard to have lots of good friends. It's hard to be healthy. It's hard to make money. It's hard to do all these things. And I think this is nothing different, is that it's just hard. You have to try. So I have done a good job, I think, of if I have friends that I haven't talked to in a while and I remember it and I'm getting in a car and I'm doing anything, I call them, right? I use a lot of my drive time for phone calls, right? And just kind of reach back out to people. Even if they don't answer and they're busy in their life, they still remembered that, hey, Benji called, and it's like, hey, man, just want to see what's going on, see how you're doing, just want to catch up, hope everything's going well. We'll talk to you soon. Give me a shot whenever you get a chance. Um, that says something, right? So that keeps that friendship open. And if you haven't seen somebody in a while, and if you haven't seen somebody in a while, you need to keep trying, right? And it is hard, but when you get together, you love it and it's worth it, right? Like, I don't see, like, one of my closest friends I would say was Mike Chamberlain for a bunch of years. And now that he's still down south where he hasn't moved, but I moved. I moved way north, so we're now 55 minutes apart. Maybe not that far, but a good 45 minutes apart. And so you see each other less, and a lot less. So I joined a private club up north in Kansas City, and he's still playing down south. So I'm already paying $1,000 a month to play here. He's playing at a public course I'd have to pay, and so it feels like it's double paying. Those are all excuses for not keeping up that friendship. But do we try to do a good job and say, "Hey, Mike, let's meet for dinner. Hey, let's play golf. A couple times a year." I wish I could do it more, right? But you just don't. Life gets busy. You're busy doing stuff. It's hard, but I think what a lot of people do is they just don't, right? I mean, you can think of friends right now probably that you're like, man, I used to be really close friends with that person, and now I never ever see them. And I think that's totally normal, but I think it's not healthy. I think it's better to keep those relationships and keep those people that are close to you and make time, even if it's just for a coffee or a breakfast or a lunch or something. It doesn't have to be 5 hours of golf or go out for drinks and dinner with family or, with spouses and everything. It doesn't have to be a big production. It can be like, hey, I'm down in your area. What are you doing this afternoon? What are you doing tomorrow? Like, hey, I'm around actually. Let's grab lunch. Like, okay, cool. Let's do lunch. And just maintaining those relationships because I think that they are they're invaluable. And people that you really get along with, I think those are the ones that you really should try the hardest with. Now, some of the ones that I still feel like I'm the closest with are the ones that I probably see the least. Like Kevin Hovis was always, one of my closest best friends. But I see him hardly ever. Now he lives in a different city, right? He lives in St. Louis. And I used to see him more often because my parents lived in Florida and we would actually drive. We had the whole family. There's 5 or 6 of us going down. So we would drive instead of flying. And so we'd always stop in St. Louis. It wasn't a halfway point, but it was just a point where, hey, we could take 4 or 5 hours off this trip and hang out with some good friends. And so that was kind of nice. So it kind of forced us to spend, you know, a night going down, a night coming back, maybe 2, sometimes 3 times a year. So next thing you know, you've spent 6, evenings with people and maybe even longer. And so that was kind of nice. Now that that has stopped, my parents don't live in Florida anymore, so I don't go that way. I see him way less. Now I try to keep up. We talk here and there, but it's not as much as it used to. Now he's got, they've got a he's got a good job and they own a nice little financial services company. They sold it recently. I think he'll be more in a spot like I'm in now, where he'll have more time, maybe a year or two from now. It sounds like. So I think that'll be fun because then there's more time for, hey, we're not doing anything. Welcome over to St. Louis. It's Tuesday. I don't have to work tomorrow. He didn't have to work tomorrow, so you could do that. So I think life happens and it gets hard. People's, again, when you work at a job and you get up to the top of that pyramid, a lot of times it takes more time, it takes more work, and you have less time. So you have more money, you have more resources, so you can do some things, but your time kind of gets pulled. So, so there's that. So, I guess my answer to this, the short story here, or the short version of this, is it just takes work. And I think a lot of people just go, man, I haven't talked to that guy in 2 years. Oh, well, I guess that was just a friendship for a season, of my life, and that's fine. But if you really like somebody and you really want to still hang out, you call, right? I mean, one of my good friends, Brad Shields, yeah, we just kind of talk. There's not a set schedule, but Brad moved away. He moved to Salina. It's not that far. It's 3 hours away or something, but it's far enough that you don't see them very often. We probably still see them mostly because they have to come to Kansas City for things sometimes. Like if they've had any issues with their kids and sickness or some issues, well, a lot of times the Salina Hospital maybe isn't the best place to do it, so they come up to Children's Mercy and they do something. So they come to Kansas City for things, for family or for different things, for travel, right? Hey, we're going to fly out of Kansas City. I don't know what the airport situation is like in Salina, but there's probably a bunch more options in Kansas City. So we've had some, hey, we're going to take off in the morning on a flight. Hey, is it okay if we come up to your house so we don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. For that? And so you get to see them. So that part's nice. But otherwise, we still make time. He'll just randomly call me, once a month, once every 3 weeks, something like that. It could go 2 months, could go longer. I don't know. We don't keep track. And a lot of times you won't even get on the phone, right? That might take 2 or 3 weeks to get on the phone because, he might call and be like, hey, just seeing how you're doing. Thought I'd catch up, had a minute in the car, thought I'd try to catch you. He hangs up, leaves that message. I do the same thing back. He does it back like, hey, man, you're it now. But it shows that each side of it is trying. And so you maintain that relationship. And then you finally do get on the phone and you talk for a long time. And maybe you go, hey, we got to get out there. We're going to come out to Salina and say hi and spend some time. Or they're going to, hey, we're coming in town because Cassie's got something for work. She's got a seminar on, she's a pharmacist. She's got something to do with her industry that's in town, or a real estate. Who knows? Could be anything. And like, hey, let's meet up then. So, but it just takes a little bit of work, because I sometimes think, Jen, my wife, will sometimes say like, man, I haven't really made very many friends since college, right? I haven't made adult friends. And I think for the most part, I would say, and maybe I don't say this to her because I don't want to make her mad. So hopefully she doesn't see this video. But she doesn't try, right? She doesn't reach out sometimes. Sometimes I think both people, maybe you had friends, at work and you quit that job, but you still like those people, you still got along. But then all of a sudden you just have to go, oh, well, somebody has to reach out and go, hey, I know we don't work together, but we should still go grab lunch. Remember how we used to go to happy hour on Wednesdays sometimes? Let's do that again. And then the other person says, oh man, I got your message. Yeah, let's do that. That'd be fun. And so people try. You have to. It takes work. It takes. Sometimes Jen will say, how do you keep up with all your friends? I'm like, well, I just call them. I text them. I think of something. I see a funny video about them. I go, that made me think of you. Remember that time where we were on that golf trip and we saw that guy wreck his cart, and this made me think of that. Or, it's just the little things in life that let people know, like, hey, I was thinking about you. Or, hey, this reminded me of you. Or this reminded me of that time that we had. It's stupid little things, but it also lets people know, like, oh, man, that was nice of him to send that. Or that was nice of him to think of me. And so then they do the same, and yeah, you maintain it. So how do you maintain it? You maintain it through work. It's hard, but it's also the good stuff. It's not like it's like someone, you wouldn't complain like, how do you have, a good relationship with your kids? It's like, oh, you talk to them and you do it. I mean, it shouldn't be a forced thing, but that's how you do it. I assume some parents that have bad relationships are like, maybe they're not around, or maybe they go out drinking all the time, or maybe they're working constantly. And so they're not around. So it's simple. It's like that video I was talking about. It all just takes a little bit of work, right? To have a successful marriage, to have friends, to have health, it takes work, it's not just easy. So sometimes it's just hard. So that's my answer. So see you guys.